Call to order the Planning and Zoning meeting. Announced that there is a quorum present. Do I have a motion for the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 3 is a public hearing plats. The following replats have variance requests and will be considered following a public hearing in accordance with local government code chapter or section 212. Item A, final plat of Castle Hills, Phase 5, Section D, a 57.21 acre tract designated estate townhomes with 260 residential lots and 2 common area lots located south of Windhaven Parkway between Essex Boulevard, the Kansas City State Railroad, with 5 requested variances. David?
Good evening. As you mentioned, this is Phase 6, Section D of Castle Hills. You may recall that just a couple of months ago, we had a replat of Sections B and C. This is Section D, which is adjacent to the other 2 sections we saw a couple of months ago. I've outlined it on the overhead. The story on this particular replat is the same as the story on the previous replat. This project was originally proposed to be constructed by Portrait Builders, and the project was designed, construction plans finished, plats approved, and then after everything was approved, and actually after construction had already commenced, Portrait Builders pulled out of the project. And so the property owners, Castle Hills, had to find another home builder to finish the project, which they have done. The new home builders are proposing a slightly different housing product than what Portrait was doing, and so need a little bit different lot in terms of lot size and building pad in order to build their project. Other than that, the subdivision is essentially the same. As I mentioned earlier, the infrastructure is already constructed, or at least under construction. So the street layout and grading, for the most part, will not be any different than what was being proposed previously, because it's already been done, and of course the developers don't want to redo it, and neither does the new home builder. So they're going to leave the streets exactly the same, and all the infrastructure is going to be relatively the same. The only thing they're going to be doing different with regard to infrastructure is adjusting some of the utility services because the lot lines are moving. When Section D was approved originally, the first 3 variances that are on for this evening were also approved. Those variances are: number 1, to allow a 44-foot street right-of-way with a 6-foot sidewalk and utility easement. Variance 2 was to waive the alley requirement. And variance 3 was to allow the street designs to vary from the minimum allowable vertical and horizontal curve design speeds. Again, all 3 of those were previously approved. The subdivision is essentially the same, with the exception of shifting lot lines. So I'm really not going to go into those 3 variances again, because there's nothing changed with regard to those. Variance number 4 is new for this particular section, although it's a variance that we've talked about previously on some other sections in Castle Hills. Variance 4 is requesting allowance to revise the required site visibility triangle for Section D for all the interior streets. Kind of getting back into that again, you may recall from sections B and C we had the same variance. Typically, the city requires a 25-foot, or excuse me, 45 by 45-foot triangle measured from the back of the curb line at each intersection, so that when people pull up close to the intersection, you can see vehicles coming in either direction and have time to decide whether or not you want to proceed through the intersection or not. The type of visibility triangles that we use and that are included in our general development ordinance and in the Castle Hills development ordinance are based on intersections that are not stop controlled. In this particular case, the developers are proposing to have stop signs at all their intersections in this Section D. There is another type of visibility triangle that is more commonly used for a stop-controlled intersection, and that's what they propose to use. The particular triangle they're proposing to use is smaller than what we would normally see in a subdivision. However, because of the stop-controlled conditions at all the intersections, it's an appropriate application, or at least in terms of technical means. You'll notice that they're going to apply this to all the internal intersections, but they are not applying it to Windhaven or I believe this is Essex Drive over here on the east side of the subdivision. Those are collector and arterial streets, and so they're going to use the normal site triangles on those for safety reasons. The last variance, variance number 5, was also considered on the other sections B and C. It's requesting allowance to exceed the number of lots in a block before a fire break easement is required. In this particular case, in fact, on this particular block here, there are 23 lots on one side and 24 lots on the opposite side of the block without a fire control break. That is normally we only allow 18 lots without a fire control break. As a matter of fact, staff is in the process of looking at some revisions to the GDO, and that's probably one of the requirements that will come out. The reason for that is back when that requirement was put in the general development ordinance, wood shingles were quite popular, and some of the siding products that were being used were much more flammable than what is going to be used here in Castle Hills. In addition to that, according to our fire marshal, fire protection technology has increased and has become much more, it's just become much better since that requirement was put in the GDO many years ago. So given all that, staff is also recommending approval of that particular variance. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have, and there is a representative that's here with Castle Hills.
Thank you, David. Anybody have any questions for David?
Yeah, I got a question. David, where's the stop bar going to be in this intersection?
The stop bar is going to, and I mean, we won't be out there to watch it, but typically the stop bar is at the radius point of the intersection.
That's why I was asking if we're going to modify this.
No, the stop bar should be in the same location. I mean, that's pretty typical, but
Okay.
but we don't do inspections out there, but that's the normal place you would have it. But there will be a stop bar, and there will be stop signs, and I've witnessed out there. I've driven out there in the other sections of Castle Hills, and they do put stop signs up. So,
Okay.
Not something the city of Louisville can inspect on, correct?
no, we don't
Because of
inspect
the-
in Castle Hills.
Because of the agreement established.
Right. They have a third-party inspection program out there. So, they've told us that they intend to do stop control. I've been in some of their other subdivisions that are already built, and they do provide stop control at all their internal intersections. So we don't have any real reason to believe they wouldn't here.
Is there a fire code requirement or anything that a hydrant has to serve so many homes or so along the length of the block or anything?
Yeah, and they are providing the appropriate number of fire hydrants and the appropriate spacing for fire hydrants. The variance really affects, how many houses you have in a row without a break in between. And normally that would be 18, or at least that's what our requirements are, and they're proposing 24 maximum on that one block. The other blocks all comply.
Alvin, you have any questions? Thank you, David. Being it's a public hearing, I'll open up the public hearing if anybody wishes to come speak.
I'm Doug Walker, here to answer any of your questions with Pride Realty.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Does anybody have any questions? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Motion to close public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Okay. Any discussion? Any emotions? I know, I can't make them.
I'll make a motion we approve the plat.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And Jim, we're glad you came.
Sorry, Buzz, excuse me. Traffic did not cooperate.
Moving along, item 4 is public hearing zoning. Item A is consideration of zoning change request from open agricultural space to public use on a 13.46 acre tract located on the north side of the Country Ridge Road, where Country Ridge Road intersects with McCart Drive and is bound by Business State Highway 121 to the west. Further identified as Track 15 on the W. Hunter Survey Abstract 552, the request is being made by the Louisville Independent School District, case number PZ 20090101. Gene.
The school district, like any public governmental entity, can do their business in any zoning category. The property they purchased for elementary school number 40 is zoned Ag Open, and they could build a school there, except that they have to follow the rules and regulations of the zoning district they're in, and the real kicker in Ag Open is 100-foot setbacks on all sides. Since the property is a little less than 500 feet at its widest point, that means the school there would be long and thin. So they've requested to rezone the property public use, which would be suitable for a public governmental entity to do. The setbacks in public use are 25-foot front and, in this case, rear because they're residential, and the side setbacks either 15 feet on a side street or 10 feet on a side adjacent to a residential use. So that would make their setbacks a little more palatable and make it a little easier to develop a school site on this particular property. property, so we have no objection to the request for the rezoning. Any questions?
Thank you, Gene. Do I have to open it up?
Just to clarify.
Yes? Okay, it's been a while, okay? Open the public hearing for item 4A. Being that there's nobody here except us, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I think I can do that, right, Mary? Mm-hmm. All those in favor of closing item 4A, answer aye. Answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Item closes. Do I have any other comments? Do I have an emotion? A motion.
Motion to recommend approval?
Did he again?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say by sigma.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Moving to item 4B, consideration of zone change request from single-family residential R75 to Old Town Mixed Use 2 on a .23 acre tract located at 151 West Walter Street, further identified as Crawford Addition Lot 2. The request is being made on behalf of Naomi Crawford's estate. Case number PZ 20090102. And Sarah, before you make your presentation, I'm going to have to abstain from this one. So do I give the controls to Jim now? Yes? Okay. Jim, come take your seat. And I'll leave.
Staff?
All right. This is property located on the northeast corner of Walters and Charles Street, right here. And it is a single-family home. It's currently zoned residential single-family, and the executors of the estate would like to have it rezoned to Old Town Mixed Use 2 to be in compliance with our Old Town Master Plan. There aren't any immediate plans to redevelop the property. However, they wanted to be in compliance with the master plan as well as have better flexibility of use and setbacks on the lot. The setbacks in R75 are 30 feet for the front, 10% of the lot width for both sides, and 20 feet for the rear, whereas in Old Town Mixed Use 2, the setbacks are 0 feet for the front, 6.5 feet for the sides for residential use, and 10 feet for the sides for commercial use. And for the rear, setbacks is 20 feet for residential and 10 feet for commercial. Old Town Mixed Use 2 also allows additional uses. As you're well aware, it does allow retail uses as well as office use, and so that's another reason why they're interested in rezoning this property. Because it is in compliance with the master plan, staff is recommending that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of this zone change request, and I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions? No. Doesn't appear to be.
Okay.
Let's see, is this also public?
Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to open for a public hearing, and that there's no one here. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Motion, and all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any other questions on this one? No. Do we have a motion on this?
Make a motion to approve item 4B.
Motion made
Second.
and second. 4B is approved. Item 5. Karen, you want to join us again? Item 5 is other business. Is there any other business that we need to address?
Actually, on the last item, you have to take a vote. We did a motion, but there was no vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You missed it.
I thought we did. All those in favor of item 4B as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, man. That was a pretty good vote. Item 5, other business. Gene?
You all haven't had a meeting, but one meeting in November and December, but there will be 2 meetings in January. We think there'll probably be a couple plats to consider, plus we talked today with Kevin, and he indicated that there will also be a need for a transportation board meeting to kind of pick up where they left off last time. So please make plans to attend another P&Z and T board meeting in 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, is there any other business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We adjourn.